the roll.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham.
Here.
Freeholder Johnson, absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Here.
Freeholder Mercado.
Here.
Freeholder Pomares.
Here.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Here. Freeholder Siebel. Freeholder President Gill.
Here. Ask you to please stand for the salute to the flag. I'm going to ask Freeholder Luciano to lead us in the salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I ask that we please remain standing for a moment of silence? Thank you. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Mr. President, there is one conference board meeting, January 16th, 2019.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we need a motion on that?
Yes.
Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Pomares, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson, absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Mr. President, there are none.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to the public comment session on agenda items. Tonight's meeting is a combined conference board meeting, and we will vote on every item on the agenda. So if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any agenda item, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Shinovar. I live at 7 Argyle Road in Montclair, New Jersey. And I have a question about the budget, which you're going to be voting on this evening. So I'm trying to find out, are there funds in this budget for trap, neuter, vaccinate, return? Because we have spoken about that and proposed it to the freeholders. If so, where are the monies located, in what departments? And how will the funds be dispersed? My question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
As our practice, we will have those questions answered through the administration and respond in writing. Okay. Seeing that there's no additional public comment on any agenda items, if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any issue, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Jasensky. My address is 491 West South Orange Avenue. I'm here to register my support for new voting machines along the lines of what Bob Giles has discussed being the best decisions we can make here in New Jersey for a good auditable set of voting machines. That's it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Holly Gautier.
You can squeeze right underneath on the handle, underneath. Right.
Oh, you mean lower it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yes, my name's Holly Gautier. I'm a resident of South Orange and co-chair of the SOMA Voting Rights Committee of SOMA Action. I wanted to thank the freeholders for having helped us introduce us to the election officials and encouraging them to have a meeting with us, which we plan to do to have next week to discuss the best voting machines for Essex County. Also want to say that they did us a favor, and themselves as well, I'm sure, by letting us know about a conference that was today in Trenton a vendors conference of all, I don't know about all, but anyway, all the vendors that wanted to attend relating to voting machines and the new poll registration opportunities that might be there, digital ones. So it was very, very helpful, and I thank you for that. However, I do have some particular questions, and we got further confirmation today of what a complicated and process this is, and we know that in order to buy machines or do things, you have to have an RFP. So my question to the freeholders is, it includes many, will the freeholders have a draft of the RFP before it goes out so that the freeholders can see what maybe some of the features are? Because clearly the RFP will determine how safe, reliable, cost-effective, et cetera, our voting machines could be. The second question I have related to that is, will the RFP be made public, which I hope it will? And the third question is, will there be and can there be public comment related to the RFP? This is a very important, expensive item that I know the freeholders and the election officials care a great deal about, and I think it would be really helpful to have as much public comment of a good nature as possible. So that's my question. Thank you.
We will, again, as our practice, respond in writing. Can say very quickly that once there is an RFP put out by the county, it's public. I mean, you can review the RFP once it is put out. So I can answer that part. The other two questions, I'll wait for the administration to respond. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Harris. I'm the co-chair of the Voters' Rights Committee with Soma Action. I too attended the trade show and open house that the vendors had in Trenton today, and I just wanted to point out a couple of things and ask a question. One is, I really got to appreciate how complicated these machines are and the systems as a whole. At this trade show, participants could practice voting. So I voted on a paper ballot and saw how it was scanned, how even incomplete marks were counted, like check marks and X's, even when you didn't completely fill it in. I also voted on a screen. And the interesting thing about on the screen, there were a lot of things to vote on. And I voted much more quickly on the machine. But even though I was paying attention, I made a mistake. And I had voted, they had one, it was for Florida, and it was, should ex-felons have the right to vote? And I thought I had voted yes, but I actually had voted no. And I was moving, when you're on the machine, it invites you to move quickly. When using the paper, I had to concentrate because I had to make sure I was filling in the box, and I didn't want to have my vote not count. There were other equipment there, and so the question I had, having seen all this stuff, is does the administration have a consultant to help evaluate these machines and what they're capable of from a technical point of view? And do those consultants have any affiliation with any of the manufacturers within the last 5 years that would at least suggest that they might be in favor of one manufacturer over the other rather than giving independent advice? If we could have those questions answered, it would help us a lot as we continue this discussion with you and
30
with
seconds.
the administration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is William Graves, and I live in South Orange, New Jersey. A few weeks ago, a professor from Princeton University, Andrew Appel, made a presentation President Gill was present for that presentation, and he indicated that the best and least expensive machines were the ones that scanned paper ballots. And I would urge the board to take into consideration Professor Appel's presentation when you make your selection of the voting machines that you are going to purchase. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Carrie Gordon from Maplewood, New Jersey. I'm part of the Green Party of Essex County. Yesterday, immigrant rights groups, which included First Friends of New Jersey, Pax Christi New Jersey, and American Friends Service Committee, did a Walking in Darkness caravan to call for an end to racist detention policies. They started at Liberty State Park and went through Jersey City and Newark, visited the offices of our representatives along the way, and ended at a vigil at Elizabeth Detention Center, which they've been doing for 23 years. When they arrived at Joseph DiVincenzo's office, no one would meet with them. Where was Joe D? He was actually off petting penguins at the Turtleback Zoo. We constantly see money being thrown at the zoo for exotic animals and parking decks while people are held in miserable conditions in the Essex County Correctional Facility. Conditions like spoiled food and moldy rooms, which were detailed in the report from the Department of Homeland Security. At the State of the County report the other week, the AAA bond rating for Essex County was applauded when we all know that those profits came from detaining people for ICE and our mass incarceration system. While the news is filled with reports of children being separated from families, Homeland Security spying on immigration activists and journalists, our own county is profiting from this system. New Jersey is a blue state, and Essex County is the bluest county in New Jersey. Meanwhile, Essex County is one of the most economically segregated places in the country. In fact, Essex County ranks 19th highest out of all counties in the nation. New Jersey has the highest foreclosure rate in the country, and Essex County has the most foreclosures in New Jersey. Essex County has the highest homeless population in New Jersey at 24%. Essex County has the most intensely segregated school districts in the state, containing half of all apartheid schools in New Jersey, and the most districts where 100% of schools are intensely segregated. And not surprisingly, New Jersey also has the worst black-white youth incarceration in the country. None of this is lesser evil. At the hearing on March 14th, you need to end your silence on the county jail contracts with ICE. Investigate conditions in the jails, support meaningful community oversight of the jails, support legal representation of all people detained by ICE in New Jersey, support formal community visitation programs in the jail, and stop profiting from ICE detention and mass incarceration. Thank you.
Squeeze the handle.
Thank you. My name is Audrey Levitin. I live in West Orange, New Jersey, and I'm here for the same reason, which is to just really come here and once again express my dismay and sense of outrage, really, and disappointment that Essex County is benefiting from the contract with ICE. I don't think that that is what we should be doing. I have been a lifelong Democrat. I'm very proud to be a Democrat, and it is surprising to me and disappointing that I think the vast majority of freeholders are Democrats, and it is not consistent with the values of the party to be taking this money, to be incarcerating people, and then on television pretending, members of the Democratic Party pretending to be against this sort of thing, and then implementing Donald Trump's policies. It's just wrong. It's very hypocritical. And I am grateful to see the article in the Star-Ledger revealing the conditions in the prison when everybody was told that the prison conditions were fine. I'm here as a citizen who feels deeply that people who are immigrants should not be incarcerated. It is the best thing about this country is our history of immigration, and this is a betrayal to all of us. And I'm really looking forward to next week's open forum where people can actually engage about how we can make the conditions better while these people are still incarcerated. Thank you.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Serge Demefak. I am with the American Friendly Service Committee. I am a Montclair resident. It is very serious what the county is facing. Over the past few days, I've been digging and doing some research and looking at the uphill battle that the county is going to face. Now, I've brought you here some of the findings that I've collected with some staff in my office about what's going on in Essex County over the past few years. A collection of information showing that the county has consistently dismissed the people, voted on what they wanted, and not listened to the people who voted them in the office in the first place. Last time I was here to remind my mayor, Mayor Jackson, he's doing a fantastic job in Montclair, but he was wrong in misquoting the report, which clearly says here on page 3 that the gun was found by a detainee. And he clearly said here that, no, the detainee was not within sight of that gun. So if that's the way to approach this issue, by misquoting the report that's publicly available, it is not a good start for the conversation we're going to have on the 14th. And the more you dig into this issue, you realize that even the food that's being given to detainees, the county is receiving retro commissions. The county receiving kickbacks. Until recently, the county was receiving more than 42%. And that was the basis upon which the decision to give the contract to the company was based. This is unacceptable. These are the details that tell us exactly how disheartening we are here, how disconnected the people in this board are with the reality that's happening here in our own county. Please take a minute. When you receive the contract from us, look at it, read it. Don't come here or stay home and just pass it like a letter in the mail. Now, Essex County has become the topic of research by academics, by scholars, to discuss how there's a crisis of governance in Essex County. You may not have the time to read that because you have 1,000 jobs, but you have to come down here and be accountable. So we're looking forward to a frank conversation when we meet on the 14th.
30 seconds.
We don't want anybody to come here and sit back, cross his hands, and say, we're going to vote against this. We want frank conversation. We want systemic change of the way the county jail is run. Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening, freeholders. My name is Robert Latz. I'm a lifelong Maplewood resident, and I was here at, I believe, the last regular meeting. And I would just like to acknowledge I did receive a response to my comments last time, so thank you for that. But to clarify, I do have the response you wrote. It looks like in this memo, I just read it, you forwarded me, this is from President Gill, you forwarded me a response by the administration to my comments last time. And the response, if you recall my last comments, I called for an independent community oversight board of the Essex County Jail, and increase basically
Excuse me, could you state your name again for the
Oh,
record?
Robert Latz, a lifelong Maplewood resident. So as I was saying, I called for independent community oversight board of the Essex County Jail, funding for universal representation of all immigrant detainees at the jail. And also I was suggesting to the freeholders county government that a cap might be a temporary solution to the issue of having what I would view as an excess of immigrant detainees at the Essex County Jail. And just an excess of immigrants being detained by the federal government right now and being abused by that very abusive immigration system. So anyways, I would just like to clarify that in the administration's response, I'm not sure who here is representing the administration tonight. You responded and said, the jail is currently and independently monitored by ICE, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and the state of New Jersey. Yeah, that's not really an independent monitoring per se. There seems to be a conflict of interest if ICE is monitoring itself. It's not really independent. I know here in New Jersey we do have some issues in terms of figuring out what exactly a conflict of interest is. But anyways, I just wanted to respond and say that's not what I meant, and I think the administration is intelligent enough to know that, or whoever wrote this. So yeah, I'm just here to reiterate that I am insistent upon calling for an independent community oversight board of the jail. I work for a legal services organization. I was at the jail all morning today.
30 seconds.
What I can say is that it's a moral outrage what's going on right now, what the federal government is doing. Trump administration has called open season on immigrant communities. I think what the county has done is made a deal with the devil in taking this ICE money, and is just taking this money, looking the other way. Very few people actually go into the jail, see what's happening, know what's happening to people in these communities, and as a result, our county is just making money off of this very corrupt and abusive system.
Time's up.
So, like I said, my demands stand for the record. So, thank you.
Good evening, Freeholders. My name is Whitney Strube. I'm a resident here of Newark. And if anything I say sounds blithe or like I'm making light of the conditions today, I assure you I'm speaking out of anger and moral indignation. And to that effect, I have created an Essex County immigrant detention trivia game. Freeholders, you're all invited to participate. If you choose not to, as I imagine you will, the crowd, you're invited too. So I have quotes. You tell me the date. Slimy, foul-smelling lunch meat, which appeared to be spoiled, held in the refrigeration unit. Although this mishandling of meats can spread salmonella, listeria, E. coli, and lead to serious foodborne illnesses, we observed facility staff serving this potentially spoiled meat to detainees. Anyone? June 2018, from the Department of Homeland Security. Question 2, quote, food, particularly meat and rice, is often raw, spoiled, or expired. That was the Human Rights First report from February of 2018, documenting conditions in 2017. How about delay in medical attention up to 2 weeks, 2-week delay in receiving psychiatric medication after transfer, and detainees report receiving little food served in unsanitary conditions? Anyone? That was April of 2010. We were detaining immigrants here before we formalized the contract with ICE, of course, and that was the NYU Law Immigrant Rights Clinic. Number 4, every indicator of the conditions and treatment of immigrant detainees in Essex County shows a detention system that is failing to meet the bare minimum of humane treatment and due process. Well, that was the NYU Law Immigrant Rights Clinic in March 2012. How about raw chicken leaking blood all over refrigeration units? That was indeed the Department of Homeland Security inspection of last year again, and I spent 2 hours today speaking to a man who was detained in Essex County Detention Center for a year. I asked him if he'd read the report. He laughed and said, "Oh, it's worse than that." That is a direct verbatim quote from a former detainee. Question 6, often run out of water in the units. Bathroom tap is undrinkable. One individual stated that an officer told him, "I'll go to your mom and get her pregnant, and then get your daughter pregnant." Another individual reported that an officer
30
said,
seconds.
"You are immigrants. You don't belong here. I'll be glad when Trump deports you." That was Human Rights First again. I actually have more. If anybody wants, I have printouts if you'd like a copy of the trivia game that I won't be able to fully complete. So to wrap things up, how much money does Essex County take from ICE to hold immigrants in cages? $35 million annually. How much of that does it spend on legal resources for detainees? $0 as of the best information we currently have out of $35 million. And finally, can this collaboration with ICE be reformed or redeemed? I would argue, no, it cannot. Please stop colluding and collaborating with Trump's deportation machine. Thank you.
My name is Sophia Cutler. I'm a high school English teacher here in Newark. Last week, for Black History Month, we read Beyond Vietnam. It was one of Martin Luther King's last speeches before his assassination. And in it, he urges Americans to recognize their kinship with the Vietnamese. In typical King fashion, he speaks a lot of love, not in some sentimental sense, but as a, quote, worldwide fellowship that lifts neighborly concern beyond one's tribe, race, and nation, which is in reality a call for an all-embracing and unconditional love for all mankind. And it is this definition which I would like to invoke when I come to you today to condemn the ICE contract in the facility and its deplorable conditions, its foul meat, moldy bread, and widespread abuse. I'm not asking you to exercise your generosity to migrants, so often painted as powerless victims of circumstance, nor am I asking you to make a more humane prison, which in my opinion is an oxymoron. I'm asking you to stand with courageous leaders like the Atlanta mayor who ended the city's relationship with ICE last fall. Doing so, again, would not be an act of generosity, but a recognition of these migrants' entitlement as humans to a better life free from exploitation and violence abroad, which cannot be separated from our country's foreign policy. So please end the ICE contract once and for all, not as an act of magnanimity, but as your duty. Thank you.
Get this straight. I've been here a number of times. I think I've learned this. You don't have to give me directions now. Okay, here we go. Good evening. My name is Jay Arena. I live here in Newark, New Jersey. And my question is directed to who Governor Phil Murphy calls his consigliere, Brendan Gill. And my question is, are you a wartime consigliere? You are facing a serious struggle. The Jobs and Equal Rights for All campaign and our growing movement are uncompromising opponents of your racist ICE concentration camp. We don't want to improve. You don't improve a concentration camp. We call for its immediate closing. And we're against your whole racist Democratic Party and all that you stand for. We are fighting for the world that we want, jobs and equal rights for all, making the rich pay. So you're not dealing with what you're used to. You're bought off nonprofits and union hacks, some of them here at this board, that bow down to whatever you say. Like those advocates that came to you and said, we want to talk about Joe D's ICE concentration camp. And you and your other good liberal, Brittany Timberlake, said, no, 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 you can't touch that. We don't offend Joe D. And they behaved. We are not appendages of your liberal wing of the Democratic Party or the reactionary racist wing of Joe D., Norcross, and Sweeney that are jamming your client. So the question is, what are you going to do? What side are you going to be on, right? Are you going to continue to bow down before Joe D. like you did last March when Joe D. awarded you the Essex County Irishman of the Year award last year, and you touted Joe D. as a model of good government? Yeah, including his ICE concentration camp. And then, consigliere, you advised your client, Murphy, to bow down. A few months ago, January, right here, your client, Phil Murphy, saluted Joe D., telling Joe, if only the state could run like this county. Yeah, we could have ICE concentration camps all around. And then, just last week, at his State of the County address, after this damning report from ICE showing the miserable conditions that Joe D. has created,
30 seconds.
You still bow down behind that and sing the praise. You got the whole freeholders up there singing the praises of Joe D. And on the outside, Joe D.'s henchman, Fontoura, stood in the doorway like George Corley Wallace and denying me and other people from entering in. Anybody that was opposed to Joe D. was barred from entering. So the question is, what side are you going to be on? Are you going to continue to side with Joe D., or are you going to finally break and demand that they end this concentration camp, and instead of generating blood money, we tax the billionaires to pay for the services that we need? We don't traffic in human beings. Because your party is going to be in trouble. We've got a growing movement. Don't
Sir,
get cocky.
your time is
You
up.
might have to alter your game this time.
Hi, my name is Carl Schwartz. I'm a Newark resident, and I am also here to call for the county to break their contract with ICE. Just while I've been sitting in the audience listening to people talk about the conditions inside, the bag of chicken meat bleeding across the floor, the moldy bread, people who are detained getting stomach viruses and going on liquid diets because they can't eat the food. I'm thinking to myself, and I'm the descendant of people who fled Eastern Europe or fleeing anti-Semitism in the early 1900s and came to the United States. And as the descendant of Jewish immigrants, I'm thinking to myself, what in history does this remind me of? And when my friend Jay Arenas says concentration camps, I think that's a pretty accurate term. People are literally starving and getting ailments in their stomachs in this jail, this concentration camp that's run by Essex County. These conditions are deplorable. And, you know, sometimes people come up here, they ask for more legal aid, they ask for reforms, but what we really know needs to happen is that this contract needs to be broken. This is a moral disgrace. I hope the county freeholders can actually read these reports and take them seriously. I feel like I've been lied to a lot. I started coming to these freeholder meetings this past summer, and I've read dozens and dozens of reports about these atrocious conditions. And all of our concerns when we came here to talk about these conditions were met either with silence or people tried to shut us down and make it seem like it's some sort of five-star resort in there. That's how Joey D talks about it. Like it's some sort of yoga weekend getaway. We have the best jails. We take such great care of our inmates. And we know that's not true. Like, how many more reports need to come out? This one came from the Department of Homeland Security, the Inspector General. These aren't muckrakers. This is the own people running the Department of Homeland Security and ICE writing the report. I don't know how much longer you can deny these reports coming out. Do we need 1,000 reports before any meaningful action is taken? So that's pretty much all I got to say. We'll be back for the hearing, and I hope we can have a good conversation about how to get out of this contract, and I hope we can have a little bit more of a back and forth, because, you know, we're tired of being met with silence like this. We don't want to come to these meetings every single week for the rest of our lives, but it seems like some of us are starting to do that, and I know I'm not ready to give up, so thank you.
Hi, my name's Link Bella Hughes. I live at 25 Vaughan Drive in here in Newark.
I'm keeping the time on here while they're fixing that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I didn't plan on speaking tonight. I just came to be in solidarity with my comrades and folks who are, you know, fighting for justice in Essex County. But, you know, in witnessing how this body operates, every time I'm here, you know, I'm struck by a line from Eric Fromm's Sane Society. They're a social psychologist and a Marxist philosopher. They wrote the book in 1955 at the height of the Cold War and as the Civil Rights Movement was really beginning to gain some steam. And I'm struck because they talk about how in a capitalist society itself, Fromm would argue, is organized insanity, that alienation itself becomes a form of mental health, of a mental health condition that is negative, that they would argue that the whole society that we live in is lacking in mental health because of the capitalist system and the way it exploits and the way it treats people very cruelly. So, in not really planning on speaking tonight, I did write a poem as I was sitting here witnessing somebody sort of, again, kind of demonstrating their dehumanizing sort of treatment to people who are up here, at the same time kind of identifying the ways that you all have been dehumanized by the system we live in. And I just wanted to share that poem with you because for me it becomes very therapeutic. I write poetry to heal and to work towards full humanization and my own liberation and the whole liberation of all society. So in that sense, I just want to share the poem, and then I'm going to sit down. But I do look forward to the responses to the questions that I shared again after Brendan Gill
And
didn't
sir,
answer the
you have
questions the first time.
1.5 minutes.
So here's the poem. Leonard Luciano, Essex County freeholder, plays with their cell phone, not paying attention to the speaker. Wearing a navy blue suit, white button-up shirt, and a yellow tie, their dapper matching navy blue shoes, their dapper matching navy blue dress sneakers hidden underneath the wooden desk that matches their wooden-headed governance style, a style shared by their freeholding exploitative colleagues. Whatever they were reading, it produced body-shaking laughter. Then a smile arises on their face as they continue scrolling with their cell phone. Their fingers start typing a message. All the while, their elite class actions and inactions practice and perpetuate state violence in all its oppressiveness, ignoring the liberal cries for better voting booths, though those liberals still do believe in capitalism and its form and its content, is something that's worth preserving. While at the same time that system is savaging the working class, immigrant, black, queer, and women's lives all around the
30
world,
seconds.
as the eyes of the U.S. empire and the whole system's hands manipulate all to sustain systematically immiserating rule. So I just urge all of you, please dig deep inside yourself. Please find the human qualities that you would say make you a living being who is not dehumanized by this system, whether that's love and care, whether that's patience and sensitivity, whether that's shared activities with people to make justice in the world. Please dig deep inside you and find those qualities, and please start practicing them so that we can see that
Time's
you care
up.
about the people who you're institutionalizing abuse, who you're institutionally abusing in the detention center way down neck in this city.
Well, good evening, good evening. Munira El Bomani, a citizen of Newark. First, I want to say again, I came to the last freeholders meeting. I'm just asking the freeholders to do the right thing. You know, the reports came out, and as I said at the last freeholders meeting, is that this issue is a systemic problem at the county. I've actually had well, it was unfortunate that I've had to stay there years ago in the county just for a couple of days for a ticket, you know, and the inhumane conditions there, the treatment, the unprofessionalism that's going on in the county. Like I said, it's a systemic problem, and we just need the county jail, as I recommended at the last freeholders meeting, is that based on this report, if you're serious about doing the right thing in regards to addressing these issues at the Essex County facility, is to provide oversight. Provide oversight. If it got to be independent, I recommend independent oversight, because just to have this problem going on for so many years under the leadership here, I basically lost trust. So independent oversight should be one of the first recommendations in terms of providing some type of solution to that issue. And then the issue about the right to counsel for undocumented workers. And we keep hearing about jailing undocumented workers, undocumented people, but we need to have a pathway to citizenship, or either some type of legal representation, because based on what we hear and what we know what's going on in the county, is that some of these people don't even have any kind of reason for being in that detention center. No kind of legal, no kind of violations or anything, just for being undocumented. So if you can please provide some kind of tangible solutions, that's one of my requests to the freeholders. If you have the power to do that, please provide independent oversight over this county jail.
30 seconds.
And also, please provide individuals with the right to counsel. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, Donna Jackson, 128 Smith Street. How's everybody? Haven't seen you in a couple of days. I'm going to echo what everybody said, even though I don't know what they said, but I know we're talking about the ICE program, the inhumane treatment of prisoners, not only on the ICE side, but on the regular jail side. I know the federal decree was lifted, and I think you guys need to get back in there and not let them tour you where you're going. Go see all of the facility. And definitely go in the holding cell area where there are multiple people in those cells that are not supposed to be there. They exceed 60 to 80 people at times. With one toilet in that facility, and I'm talking about on the regular jail side. So I can imagine what we're doing on the ICE side. But on the regular jail side, when Newark and East Orange and Irvington is having a good lockup night, you got 60 to 80 people in one of those holding cells for over 48 hours because they have to be processed through the jail. And I know weapons have been found once people get in there, so we need to get back on that. Secondly, number 5, 6, and 7 are contracts, resolutions under contract for youth services. I think we need to review every youth contract that we have. I don't know who the current monitors are for the county, but the youth services that we're receiving are horrible. I know children who are supposed to be on ankle bracelets. They go to court on February the 1st, and the ankle bracelet is not put on until after June. That is when they're awarded, when the court says ankle bracelet, it's supposed to be administered within 24 to 48 hours. This is not happening with your current contractors, and you guys need to look at the amount of millions of dollars that you're giving. Parents are also requesting services for their children when they go to court, and they're not receiving them. So if we have vendors that don't want to take our children before they break somebody's window or before they go out there and carjack, then we need to review those contracts as well, because I know that's happening. I go to juvenile court, unfortunately, with a lot of parents, and they're reaching out for help, and it's not happening in Essex County like it is in other places. Lastly, let me talk about our horrible welfare social service agency. Horrible. I know Essex is growing. I know we're doing wonderful things at the Turtleback Zoo. My grandson loves it, so I will never speak against the zoo because I know our kids love it, and it is a wonderful place. But the rest of the county gets an F. People can't sleep in the park, and you're forcing families to sleep in the park. So families who are now receiving TRA from the county, because the county of Essex, and I have done a statewide poll, and we are the worst.
30 seconds.
And we are the worst in payment. Landlords are now losing their homes because the county of Essex is not making those TRA payments in an adequate fashion. People are being evicted because the county isn't paying. And then on my credit, I have a non-payment of rent. So I can't rent another apartment now because I have that. So I think I would like you guys to go over to the 50 South Clinton, do a review, see who's been kicked off, and see what status people are in, because y'all are really destroying families in this county because of the non-payment of TRA, and it is happening every day.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alejandro Jaramillo, and I am from Cosecha, Newark. I am a former student of Rutgers, Newark, of NJT, Newark, and I am here to protest the contract that Essex County has with ICE. And I have 3 questions. You have heard all the testimony of how bad this is. You are breaking families up. You are making money on immigrant families. And you are collaborating and supporting Trump policies. So my first question is, when are you going to stop this contract? When we are going to stop here asking you to stop that contract, and when we are going to come here to celebrate that you listen to the will of the people, stood in solidarity with the immigrant communities, with families, with children, with women, with hard-working, honest people, and broke the contract. So I want to see that day that we are here to celebrate and applaud you for breaking up that contract. So that's my question, and I want a response in writing. When are you going to cancel that contract? The second question is that I am a volunteer with an organization that helps the detainees in this facility, the immigrant detainees, called First Friends. They go to Hudson, they go to Elizabeth, and they are the only contact that the undocumented immigrants detain and put unjustly in those places that they have with the outside world. However, Essex County has refused to let them go to visit the detainees in Essex County. And I am asking you, right, to do something so at least they can get in there and be a line of communication for the people that are detained there. On February 20, they emailed the director of the Essex County Jail. His name is Ruiz, and to this day, he has not responded. They were told that in order for their volunteers to visit detainees, they have to be subject to a criminal federal background check. So Essex County is putting a higher standard for an organization and specialized professionally visiting the detainees than anyone else that is willing, that is going to visit a detainee. So I need a response in writing when this body is going to do something to help First Friends to allow to visit the detainees in Essex County. And sometimes when I see about these requirements and these things that making it hard for them is because probably Jody and Essex County doesn't want anyone else to hear what the detainees are suffering. And last but not least, I want to ask this body, there is a current
Time's
bill
up.
in the state legislature, Bill A4743 and S3229, that is to allow undocumented immigrants to get a driver license, to demand to the Speaker of the Assembly, Craig Coughlin, Senate President Steve Sweeney, and Governor Murphy to pass this bill. And I would like a response in writing that you are going to reach out to the representatives. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gloria Mills. I came here before with concerns about the Division of Senior Services. You did respond, and they are trying to show that they are doing more than just sitting there and waiting until retirement. They are actually putting together programs. My concern is that after I came here, I was bullied, bashed, intimidated, humiliated, labeled, and name-called because that I came here to exercise my democratic right, whether we like it or not, to free speech. I asked a question about the members that have been there for 10, 12 years. They're still there, and there are no term limits. Their term limits expired in September 2018, and they're still there. So when I asked that question at the meeting, I asked that last year, and I asked it in January. When I asked it in January, I said, I'm asking the question that I asked last year because these people are still there, and their terms has expired. I said, I understand that you will respond in writing. The president was getting ready to ask for an adjournment, and the director said, oh no, I'm going to answer this. It's because of you, Miss Mills, that the county came in and the state came in because you said that this division needed oversight. And the reason why these people are still here is because I am the director and I can appoint. And you have caused nothing but dissension. This was stated publicly. I don't think I was supposed to know about the county and the state coming in. Certainly, I don't think that 16 other people who were at that meeting of the council, I don't think they were. I certainly don't think
30 seconds.
the person that came just to learn about the council, he was supposed to know about that. I would like for something to be done because this is a violation of my democratic right to be able to come here and voice my opinions or ideas without fear of intimidation. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Yael Weber. I'm an Essex County resident. I'm here once again in protest of the ICE contract. I don't have a whole lot to add that's new. I'm looking forward to this hearing next week, but I do think that in focusing on the conditions, which are horrific and which are deplorable, we really run the risk of missing the whole point, which is that we are detaining people unjustly. People are being held indefinitely without charges in a country where we say we don't do that. We are taking people from their families, from their communities. We are incarcerating them at significant cost. I know we're making money on this, but really it's taxpayer money that's funding it in the first place. And we're doing this for really no good reason. There is a lot of research showing that alternatives to detention work very well and are very effective, and that people do show up to hearings when you put these programs in place. I think that we would do far better to research those alternatives and to research what will happen when we end this ICE contract, because I don't think that this is something that people believe we should be doing or that is going to be a long-term solution. So I'm just here once again to ask that you please end the contract, that you look into ending it while minimizing harm to the current detainees, and that we look into alternatives to detention, as well as providing legal representation for all detainees, as well as people who are at risk of deportation who are not currently detained. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that there's no one wishing to speak at this time. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions for introduction and first reading?
Mr. President, we have none.
Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions for listing purposes only?
Mr. President, we have two. First resolution is resolution number R-2019-00145, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Management and Budget, resolution to exceed the county tax levy and to establish a cap bank for county year 2019 pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can you list resolution R 2019-00145 and 00146 for public hearing at our March 27th meeting?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions on second reading and public hearing tonight?
Mr. President, I need to read a second resolution for listing. May I?
Yes, but you listed,
Resolution R 2019-00145, and I can read Resolution R 2019-001.
yeah, you listed both.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'll read that
Madam,
one.
Mr. Counsel, I think we did.
Okay.
You listed both when you listed it the first time.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Okay. So again, just for the record, you can list resolution 2019-00145 and 00146.
Okay.
For public hearing on March 27th. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions on second reading and public hearing tonight?
Yes, Mr. President, we have two. I'll read the first one, which is ordinance number 02019-00003, bond ordinance providing for the improvement of the Essex County College in and by the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $7,200,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,000,000 $600,000 bonds or notes of the county and $3,600,000 bonds or note of the county entitled to the benefits of Chapter 12 of the Law of New Jersey of 1791 for the financing of such appropriation.
Okay, I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O 2019-00003 open. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment or for or against the ordinance, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Donna Jackson. Just a question. This is at the point now to go out for competitive bidding. I need to ensure and see that because I know we don't answer, so I'll just throw them all out there. I need to see some Essex County residents working on this Essex County project. And I just hope you guys reviewed it to make sure that the improvements that are being made are improvements that need to be made and are going to move us into the 21st century, keep our certification and all that other kind of stuff in line, because I know we've had some questions about that, classroom size. We could become more competitive and that kind of thing. I hope this is all in line with that, but the main thing, my issue is to make sure we have some Essex County residents working on the construction projects as we're doing the improvements. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. McInerney, do you have any questions or comments?
Mr. President, this was already discussed at first reading. Although it says 7.2 million, the county share is only 3.6. The state is responsible for the other 3.6.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No further comments.
Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on ordinance 2019-00003?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Pomeroy.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Graham. Do I have the same mover and second?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebald.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance O 2019-00004.
Ordinance number O 2019-0004, bond ordinance providing for new Dutch Lane Bridge replacement project in and by the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $2,365,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,250,000 bond or notes of the county for financing such appropriation in connection with a loan from the New Jersey Transportation Infrastructure Bank.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O 2019-00004 open. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment for or against the ordinance, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, Mr. McInerney, do you have any questions or
No
comments?
questions on this, Mr. President.
Mr. Parlavecchio,
No
any
questions.
questions or comments?
No questions.
Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Okay. Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing? Moved by Freeholder Siegel.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Do I have the same mover and second?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Sebald.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 1 and 2, which is the Office of the County Council. We can read them into the record at a later time.
Got fooled tonight,
Yeah,
Mr. President.
He's right behind you, by the way. Mr. Coltry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Cascione's here to explain this ordinance, resolution.
Thank you. Good evening. Courtney Gassione, Essex County Council. Mr. President, this is resolution number 1. It is a professional services agreement between the county and our engineering expert, Vincent Campisi. Mr. Campisi has been retained to act in the capacity as an expert in a litigation that the county is currently defending. This is a personal injury action that's been brought against the County of Essex and the County of Hudson. Mr. Campisi, you may recall we came to you a few meetings ago for the approval of payment of his prior invoices. This is now a contract for his services going forward in 2019. We anticipate that both his expert report as well as the possibility of testimony during depositions and trial may be necessary. Therefore, we're asking for a contract in an amount not to exceed $50,350. I believe the previous question may have come up during leadership as to his hourly rate. His hourly rate for preparation is $3.25 an hour, and for any testimony that he gives, either a deposition or a trial, it is $3.50 per hour.
Okay, Mr. Parlavecchio?
Yes, Ms. Gassion, will this contract, is it anticipated this would carry him through trial, and it wouldn't need to be supplemented at some point?
That's correct. We anticipate it would carry us through the trial.
Okay. And conversely, it's possible there is no trial, and we would not come close to exhausting this exceed amount.
If the case settles, that's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. McInerney?
I have no questions.
Freeholders? Questions or comments? Have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Freeholder Mercado.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Graham. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 2. Ms. Gassion.
Courtney Gassion, Essex County Council. Mr. President, this is a resolution seeking the board's approval for an amendment to the lease agreement between Essex County and the Essex County College. You may recall we came to you back in December for the approval of this lease agreement. The county is anticipating purchasing the Essex County Police Academy from the Essex County College. We anticipate a closing sometime in April. In the interim period, we are leasing the property. We began that lease period on January 1 of this year. It came to our attention that in order to move forward during the lease period in collecting fees from outside entities that utilize the police academy, it was required that we institute a fee schedule. The only mechanism to institute that fee schedule, since we currently don't have a fee ordinance under the guise of the Department of Corrections, is to amend the actual lease agreement. So the lease you have in front of you tonight is the identical lease that was before you back in December, with the exception of the amendment that includes the fee schedule. And that will allow the director of the police academy, as he utilizes the facility for outside entities, municipalities, and different groups, when they come in, it will allow for the collection of fees that will bring in revenue to the county. Once the county completes the purchase transaction, that we will no longer need this fee schedule, and we will adopt our own fee ordinance.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions on this.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders. Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Pomares.
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Sebo. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 3, we can read it into the record at a later time.
Mr. President, this resolution is for a contract award to communication specialist, the sole responsible and responsible bidder. It's repair and installation of emergency lights and sirens. It's a 24-month agreement. There's a $10,000 allowance for unseen parts and labor. Last year, this is the same vendor. We spent approximately $65,000 on the last contract.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Oh, it's 24 months.
He has 24 months, so. Freeholders. Questions or comments? Have a mover and a second.
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Palmaris.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebald.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham, absent. Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We can move to resolution number 4. We'll read into the record at a later time. Mr. Coltry.
This is a contract renewal for alcohol and drug treatment program for 2019, and Eileen Fishman is here to explain.
Thank you.
Good
Ms.
evening,
Fishman.
freeholders.
Good evening.
Eileen Fishman, Acting Director of Community Health Services for Essex County, here with 2 of 3 of our largest recipients, Steve Delaval from Turning Point and Jodalio Caballero from Cura. This is for the purposes of drug and alcohol addiction services. So it's for, in the case of Turning Point, for in-house detox and intensive outpatient services, and for Cura for detox also, short-term, as well as 12 other programs that we have throughout the county.
Would you like to have your vendors say a few words?
Sure.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Delaval. I represent Turning Point Rehabilitation Center. I'm very grateful for Essex County for helping us out, and Roberto and Eileen. Last year we served 676 clients, 254 of them for detox, and 301 for short-term residential. And again, very grateful for Essex County and their help. Thank you. Almost 44 years, so thanks.
Good evening. My name is Jodalio Caballero. I'm the Director of Intake of Cura in Newark. Cura has been in Essex County for 46 years. I want to thank Essex County for the years that we have been working with them, and especially Eileen and Roberto, which help us a lot, and just want to say thank you.
Actually, we have our third here from Cope Center, Diane Fennelly.
Hi, I'm Diana Fenley. I'm a resident of Montclair, and I'm president of the board of Cope Center in Montclair. I just want to thank Essex County for funding our programs, 2 programs in particular that you provided grants for. One is for co-occurring some of our sicker clients who need more in-depth counseling, and another program which we provide prevention treatment for seniors and for high school students and for any other group that cares for information about prevention services for drug and alcohol treatment. So thank you very much.
So you may or may not know that substance use disorder is the fastest growing segment of the population for substance use disorder currently are seniors. And so it's really important that we have those programs for prevention and education for seniors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the age, what is considered for that statistic to be a senior?
Well, I guess 62 and over, 60 and over. We do programs now. I personally handle a program that's called a Brown Bag Day, where we ask seniors to come in to clean out their medicine cabinets, bring their drugs in a brown bag. I bring pharmacists with me, all volunteer, and we will counsel them on their drug regimen that they're currently on, and we will dispose of their unused, outdated, expired medications, because in surveying people who have substance use disorder, one of the questions is, how did you start? And the number 1 answer is, from my family medicine cabinet. Grandparents, seniors, are the most vulnerable. and they don't realize what's going on. In addition to that, we're educating funeral directors in what to do when a family comes and says, my loved one had all of these meds, and how they can help them find a place to dispose of them and educate them. We also do it with realtors, because when we do lunch and learns, because when they go to open houses, people have open houses, we teach them to tell their resident of the house to teach to handle your meds as equally as precious as you would handle your jewels, because you have to lock them up and hide them. So it's a very unfortunate circumstance, but it's the reality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholder Siebold.
Thank you. Eileen, are any of these vendors new, or have they all been getting contracts from Essex County?
Actually, on this list, I guess we've changed, for instance, no, they're all typical. We go out for RFP. They're all people who've been getting contracts.
There's no one new on this list?
No, the only place it's new is where Cope Center is doing prevention and education. We expanded our prevention education programs to 3, and so we went out for RFP. We added Cope via the RFP.
Twice.
Yeah, exactly. So they're on for outpatient services, and they're on for prevention and education.
And
2
where-
different contracts
Yeah,
for different
Where it
purposes.
says the number of clients served, is that how many each year?
That's the estimate, sorry.
Excuse
sorry,
me, if
Roberto Alvarez.
you're going to speak, you have to put your name on the record.
Roberto Alvarez, Program Monitor for the Addiction Services. That's the estimate. However, in 2018, we services over 2,200 consumers, more than what we expected.
But this is the estimate of how many people. For example, it says Newark Renaissance has 10. Only 10.
That's correct. New Renaissance House can have maybe 10 consumers through the whole year, because that's a program for females with children. They can be there the whole year if those 10 people, until they find appropriate living conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder, additional questions or comments? Do I have a mover?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Present, not voting.
Okay.
Moving to resolution number 5. Read into the record at a later time.
Mr. President, this is the Department of Citizen Service, Division of Youth Service, renewal contract with New Jersey Superior Court Family Division to provide telephone notification services for 2019, not to exceed $16,992. Jason Martinez is here to explain the grant.
Thank you.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Jason Martinez. I am the Director for the Youth Service Commission.
What we're asking for is for the recommendation of the approval for the sub-grant will allow this continuation of a much-needed service, reducing the number of juvenile families who appear for scheduled court hearings, reduce reductions resulting from FTA, and to offset the juvenile justice system and reduce minority of overrepresentation.
Okay. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders. Do you have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Luciano. Is there a second? Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Present, no vote.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 6, which we can read into the record.
Skipped over me.
Oh, Freeholder, Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
I do apologize,
Not a
Mr.
problem.
President.
It's okay. You don't have to apologize to me, you got to apologize to the Vice President. Moving to resolution number 6, which we can read into the record at a later time. Mr. Coltry.
Mr. President, Department of Citizen Service, again, Division of Youth Service. It's a contract in New Jersey Superior Court, a substance abuse evaluator, and this is a grant-funded program. Jason Martinez is here to explain.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Jason Martinez, Director of Youth Service Commission. This grant is for a full staff member, including friendship benefits. By continuing this service, the court-involved juveniles will continue to receive substance abuse assessments for appropriate services and accountability.
Okay. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders. Any questions, comments? Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Palmaris. Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
President, no vote.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
I think you missed another freeholder. Madam
yes.
Clerk.
Luciano, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Mr. President, may I just say that every time someone says President not voting, it throws me off. That's my excuse. Luciano.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 7.
Mr. President, Department of Citizen Service, again, Division of Youth Service, approval of a state community partnership sub-grant agreement for a period of January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2019, in the aggregate amount of $523,605, and Jason Martinez is here to explain.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Jason Martinez, Director of Youth Service Commission. I also came here with one of our vendors from Aspira to explain some of the services that he provides for the evening reporting center. Basically, sorry about that. I got nothing.
You have I'm sorry, Mr. President, you have a vendor?
Yes, I do have one of the vendors who wants to introduce Carlos Valentin from Aspira.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Martinez, Freeholder Board. My name is Carlos Valentin, Executive Director, SPW New Jersey. As some of you may already know, we run the Evening Reporting Center out of 390 Broad Street. I guess as a quick summary, the clients are referred by the judges directly to us. They have to come in with the referral. Well, they send the referral, they come in, do the intake process, and then they're entered into the program. It's an open enrollment environment, so it all depends on their court date that's set by the judges. While they're there, we help them with the homework assistance. We have a computer lab for them. We have 2 counselors on staff and a program coordinator. They also have the options to participate in our boxing program or in our music studio as a creative outlet for them to be able to kind of like relieve a lot of the stress that they're dealing with through their current situations. And we also feed them. We have the food catered in every single day. And any leftover food we offer to them to take home, and whatever's left over after that, we also have them go and donate the food to local shelters as well. And we also provide other enrichment services, like we take them on trips, we take them to trips to the museum, we take them to the park, we take them out to interact in the community to kind of give them a kind of whole experience other than just keeping them locked up inside the facility every day. So we try to give them the program is not designed to be rehabilitative, but we try to provide the best experience possible to help them through this trying time in their lives.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions. I heard applause, so. That's it.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Moved by Freeholder Johnson, Second by Freeholder Graham. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper, absent Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Present, no vote.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sewell.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk.
She was going to skip me.
And thank you. Moving to resolution number 8, which we can read into the record at a later time. Mr. Colatree.
Yes, Mr. President, Department of Citizen Services, again, Division of Youth Service, approval of the JADA Innovation Sub-Grant Agreement for family support organizations for a period of January 1 to the end of the year, December 31st, and Jason Martinez is here to explain. I thought he was here.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Jason Martinez, Director for Youth Service Commission. I'm also here with one of my staff members, Wanda Henderson, who has the most knowledgeable person regarding the family support organization. Sorry about that. What I can say about the family support organization right now is that I know it's actually a separate grant from the JDAI. Right now, Essex County participates in the state of New Jersey's detention alternative. And every year, a committee in the Youth Service Commissions meets to identify the priorities of our local juvenile justice system. This year, they identify the family engagement as a priority, which is why we recommended the family support organization to assist in this important priority. I would like to introduce my Wanda Henderson.
Thank you.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Wanda Henderson. When we filed for the grant under the JDI Innovations Act last year, our innovation was to begin to engage parents of court-involved youth, and not just the youth itself. And in doing so, the parents receive training in the Nurturing Heart approach. They form parent peer support group, and those groups are established throughout the county of Essex, in every township. And the parents come, get together, and they support one another, share information, and it helps them to not only form a camaraderie and exchange of ideas, educating themselves, but it also is designed to help them navigate the juvenile justice system, which many of them know nothing about until their child is faced with dealing with the police. So it's a wonderful program. The parents enjoy it, and we are very much looking forward to a successful year this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Ms. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders, questions or comments? So the mover in a second.
Move it.
Moved by Vice President Richardson.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Graham. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sewell.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Present, no vote.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. Moving to resolutions number 9 through 16, and actually also number 19, which are our Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. We'll start with number 9. We will read number 9 through 16 into the record at a later time. So, Mr. Colatree.
Thank you, Mr. President. Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs contract award to Ezra Tunley and Son, the sole responsive and responsible revenue-generated bidder for the operation of a compost facility in South Mountain Reservation. The term of the contract will be from March 21st, 2019 to March 20th, 2021, and it will generate $159,000 in Josh is here to explain.
Thank you.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. As Mr. Coultry explained, this is a revenue-generating contract to operate the compost facility over in the South Mountain Reservation. The compost facility, for those who aren't familiar, is located on the corner of South Orange Avenue and Cherry Lane in West Orange. And in addition to the $159,000 in revenue, as part of the contract, the county will also receive 5,000 cubic yards of double hammer mulch and 1,000 cubic yards of screen topsoil.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio?
Yeah, I have a question, Josh. Does this facility take in just county vegetative waste, or, just the county's vegetative waste, or are other haulers allowed to bring in there?
Through you, Mr. President, it takes county-generated waste either from the county directly or vendors who work for the county.
For the county. But if somebody was a private hauler for whatever and was doing tree cleanup, they couldn't just bring it in?
Correct.
To this facility? Okay, thank you.
Mr. McInerney?
There was just only one bid for this, Josh?
Through you, Mr. President, that is correct.
Thank you.
Freeholders, questions or comments? Freeholder Siebold?
Yeah, Josh, where did you say it was?
It's in West Orange on the corner of Cherry Lane and South Orange Avenue. Right, the Parks Department has a maintenance building there as well. It's in the same facility, the same area. Yeah.
Freeholders, questions or comments? Do I have a mover and a second?
So moved.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second by
Second.
Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper, absent Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Number 10, Mr. President, Josh is here to explain.
Sure. Number 10 is a contract with Geese Chasers North Jersey for geese control in various Essex County parks. They include Verona Park, Grover Cleveland Park, Monty Irvin Orange Park, Branchbrook Park, and Yenneco Park. The Parks Department monitors geese numbers, I guess you would say, throughout the park system. We also take into consideration residents' concerns. And in this year's contract, Branchbrook and Yenneco are new. The company comes out monthly, and they continue to come out until they're satisfied that the geese are being controlled. The main method of control is to use border collies.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders. Freeholder Pomares?
Geese are obviously a big problem, and they leave a path of destruction, if you will, behind. Is there anything else that's being done countywide? I realize not in this contract, this is chasing them away, but is there anything else done, I'm sure maybe with either groups or the county, to try to be a bit more proactive? I know that in some places they oil eggs and things of that nature. Can you speak to anything like that that you may be doing besides this?
Sure. Through you, Mr. President. In addition to the border collie, which again is the main method of control, they do also addle the eggs.
And how does that take place? Is that another contracted out, or is it volunteer groups?
It's the same organization, the same vendor would do both.
Okay, great, thank you.
Freeholders?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Graham. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 11.
Number 11, Mr. Zates.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Number 11 is a bit of housekeeping, as the county is in the process of applying for Green Acres funds, and one of the requirements in the application is for the governing body to approve an enabling resolution, which is specifically what this is. The enabling resolution allows the county executive to apply for the grant, and specifically it's for a multi-part grant, which this year we're requesting funds for a Turtleback Zoo bear exhibit, as well as some field improvements over in Brookdale Park.
Great, thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio?
Yes, Josh, is it correct that if we're successful and get an award of this grant, that it requires a match, an equal match,
Through you, Mr. President, that is correct.
and that, I presume, comes out of open space?
Historically, it has, but, there's certainly other areas that we could match it through.
Okay, Mr. McInerney?
No questions, Mr. President.
Freeholders. When would we know of the award?
The applications are due March 30th. I haven't heard a date of when they would announce it. Typically, it's 2 to 3 months after the deadline.
And the department does the application?
Correct. We have a grant consultant on board who we work with.
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold,
Second.
second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebold. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Resolution number 12.
Mr. President, resolution number 12 also relates to resolution number 48 for your information. Josh is here to explain number 12, and if you allow us to move on to number 48, he'll explain that one also.
Yes, please.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Thank you. As Mr. Coultry explained, 12 and 13 are related. 12 is a 2-month extension of our current golf cart contract with EasyGo. That will take us through May 6th, which is when the date of award for number 48, which is the actual new contract with EasyGo for golf carts. The 2-month extension will obviously take us to the start of the new contract, and the reason we're asking that you also consider number 48, which is the new contract, is because there's approximately a 60-day lead time to order new golf carts. So we want to get them on board. That way the golf carts can be ordered, and we do have our golf director here if you have any additional questions.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
I can just say that I did speak with Kate Hartwick from Parks earlier this week about these 2 companion contracts. And it's typical that we would be asked to approve an extension while another bid or RFP was out on the street. And this is basically what that is, but we're getting them at the same time. There's no overlap in payment or service. As Josh said, the extension carries us through May 6th, then the new contract doesn't take effect until after that time. So they are consecutive contracts, but not overlapping, so there's no double payment.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders. Freeholder Pomares.
Are they golf carts? Are they gas, electric? What do you have?
Tim Chris, Director of Golf. Yes, they're gas. They're gas. We looked in, actually, we did look into power, the electric, and we just found it was cost prohibitive. It's almost 2.5 times the cost of gas. So at this point, we weren't ready to commit to that, so.
To you, Mr. President, is that in part because you have to make changes to charging stations and things of that nature, or is it just the amount of electricity draw versus the amount of gas?
Well, that's not even including the changes in what we'd have to do upgrades for electric in all the buildings. But I felt like we could take that cost on as a green initiative, but it just turns out the cost of the cart themselves was just too much.
Okay, so is that something that maybe you want to consider for a long-term plan, obviously? I mean,
Yeah,
I realize, it's a hard changeover immediately, but is that something that in your master plan you have to consider?
Absolutely. I'm going to look at it every time this contract comes up. It's a 3-year contract. Hopefully, what we were looking at were the lithium, their newer technology. By then, maybe it helps bring down the cost in 3 years, because the other batteries, there's a great deal of maintenance with what was the norm, and these were lithium that we were looking at, and they're just really high right now. But in 3 years, if that cost comes down, we certainly want to go that way.
Mr. President, I think it's just important to underscore the significance of trying to make these improvements. I realize right now, maybe it's not the wisest choice, but long-term, obviously, as much as a gearhead as I may be, as you all may well know, The conversion to electric is probably something that we should consider and perhaps maybe plan it as opposed to just waiting for the contract to expire, then see what's available and maybe be a little bit more proactive and kind of in your expenses moving in the next few years, mobilize yourself year by year so you can get to a point where it's not a major overhaul, but more incremental.
Yeah, we could certainly phase it in also. You know, we have 3 courses, maybe we try, you know, 1 course at a time and phase it in and see how it works. So,
thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Richardson.
Through you, Mr. President. So what is the life expectancy of a gas-powered golf court compared to an electric?
It all depends on the usage. We were extending the life expectancy for the electric to try and offset the cost, but it really didn't do that. And also, basically, what you have is we have a 3-year turnaround because what tends to happen is they really start to break down as far as the gas vehicles and the maintenance, and it really adds to our bottom line. And next thing you know, we're running really high on our maintenance cost, and you know, we're trying to keep things right along that. You know, as far as, you know, we don't want to have to go out and hire another mechanic for the maintenance cost and those kind of things. So, as far as the maintenance cost, it's probably, if the gas gets older than 3 years, the maintenance cost goes up. The electric's probably a hair lower because you can extend it. But eventually, now you're talking about battery replacement, so I believe the batteries, and depending on the company, whether it's 4-year, 5-year warranty, but once those batteries go, then it skyrockets for the electric. So,
thank you.
Freeholders, additional questions or comments? Moved by Freeholder Johnson.
I'll second this. I'm sorry, do you want to take 48 as well? One is the extension, 48 is the new.
Yeah, we can read 48 into the record at a later time. Why don't we take resolution 12 and 48 together? Do I have item mover Freeholder Johnson and second by Freeholder Palmaris for resolution 12 and 48? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper. Absent Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Resolution number 13.
Joshua Zaid, Sussex County Parks. Resolution number 13 is actually the funding mechanism for resolution number 14. 13 is a change order being funded through the Open Space Trust Fund in the amount of $450,000. It is for additional work for the improvements over at the Turtleback Zoo main entrance. Specifically, it's adding a second electronic board, and there's some additional electrical work that's needed to support that. Just to explain further, as this board knows, we're building a third parking deck on site. The contract to do the new entrance was awarded prior to us designing and implementing the third parking deck, and now as the third parking deck is being constructed, we realized that there's going to be visitors entering through a different direction. Therefore, there's a new electronic board, and again, as I mentioned, additional electrical work.
Carl Vecchio.
Yeah, Josh, 2 questions. Have there been any other or prior change orders under this contract?
Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. This is the first change order for this project.
Okay, and what was the original contract amount?
It's $5.324 million, and this is like 8.
Under 10%?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. McInerney.
I have no questions on this.
Freeholders. Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Seabold.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper. Absent Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Resolution 14, I believe is...
Mr. President, this is a change order. Department of Parks and Department of Public Works is here. Mr. Vargas.
Joshua Zaid, Susquehanna Park. As we mentioned, 14 was, 13 was the funding mechanism for 14.
I move both.
Okay, thank you. We already took,
You took 13.
we took, 13, so Freeholder-Siebold's moving 14. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper, absent Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Moving to Resolution 15, Mr. Coltry.
Jo-
Mr. President, Joshua Zaid's here to explain.
Joshua Zaid, Susquehanna Parks. Similarly, 15 and 16 are related in that 15 is the funding mechanism for 16. 15 is a change or is a allocation from the Open Space Trust Fund in the amount of $28,800 for a change order for the design services for the Riker Hill Park improvements. Specifically, the Parks Department and the County Executive held a number of community meetings with residents in the Riker Hill area, and the additional funds are needed to address water runoff that was a concern of those residents.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Parlavecchio?
Thank you. And Josh, just to be clear, 16 is the contract change with the current engineers?
Through you, Mr. President, that is correct.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders. We'll take 15 and 16 together. Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move the two together.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold. Second by Freeholder Graham. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
We had 19, Mr. Parlavecchio.
Yeah, I had 19 under Parks, too.
But 19 looks to be Public Works.
Maybe it's,
So, moving to resolution number 17, which 17 and, so 17, 18, and 19, which are Public Works. We can read them into the record at a later time. Mr. Coltry.
Mr. President, Mr. Varghese here, the county engineer, to explain the courthouse cooling tower replacement.
Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. Resolution 17 is for the replacement of the cooling tower at the historic courthouse. That cooling tower was installed almost 15 years ago when we rehabilitated the building, and it's started to fail equipments. We have several bids, and the lowest bidder was C. Doherty, and we have C. Doherty, Mr. Ali is here if you have any questions. It's a prevailing wage job.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Ali Shamsi. I'm president of Cedar Getty Company located in Patterson, New Jersey. And we are a HVAC company since 1972. We have 4 to 10 employees in our staff. And we have 1 employee on Essex County right now at this point. And we are 100% minority employee right now at this point. And we are non-union, but we will pay in the prevailing wages based on New Jersey state law. And also, we are replacing the 2 cooling tower at the historic court based on based on design. And we did a few projects with the Essex County, DPW, and NJIT and Passaic Community College in the past. And we are minority business enterprise at this point. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Parlavecchio.
no questions.
McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders. Questions or comments? Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Pomares.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Coltry, resolution number 18.
Number 18, Mr. Varghese is here to explain.
Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. This is a change order. Again, we rarely come here before the board for change orders. Again, this is a couple of change orders on this meeting's agenda. This is a change order for Center Street Bridge, which we are almost ready to finish the complete punch list work. During construction, when we go out for with the bid for a project, we do estimate the quantities, and these are all DOT unit prices. And we estimated the coffer dams for this job. It was underestimated, and we ended up doing more than we estimated coffer dams. And that's the majority of this change order. And in addition to that, when we were digging the foundations, we ended up digging more rocks than we expected. Then there was a major storm during the construction, the August 11th storm, and that made some damages to the work. Also, there was a couple of water main on that bridge which broke during construction, and all these items add to this change order. The money is coming from the capital, DPW capital, and this is a genuine change order.
Mr. Prodecchio?
Yeah, as Sanjeev said, all of those referenced change orders are captured in this one resolution. And my count, it's still less than 10% of the original contract amount.
Yes, it's around 8%, yes.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Questions or comments? Will mover in a second.
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Primaris.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Graham. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Moving to resolution number 19.
Mr. President, Mr. Vargas is here to explain the security contract.
Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. As the board may know, we are in the process of buying 321 University Avenue, which is 150,000 square feet, a couple of buildings and a parking lot. We are trying to rehabilitate. After we buy the property, we'll be rehabilitating that property for almost a year. During that time, we need security for that place because that will be unmanned. For that purpose, we went out for bid for a security company to have a security person move around the building 24/7, and the lowest bidder was Algis Security, and we have a representative here from Algis. They have contracts with SS County. Other than this particular contract, he will answer any questions you may have.
Good evening. I'm Timothy Basanti, President of Aegis Security. We were established in 2010. We have 83 current employees. 21 of them are from Essex County itself. 99% of our employment staff are minorities, so we are non-union. We do pay the prevailing wages, and we do work for Essex County currently.
Prodecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
This was a bid contract, and this was the lowest responsive bid.
Thank you. Freeholders? Questions or comments? Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
If you don't mind me asking, how many African Americans do you employ?
I don't have an exact number, but it's a majority. I would say about 85%.
Thank you.
Freeholders? Questions or comments? Do I have a mover in a second?
Move it.
Moved by Vice President Richardson.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 20. Read into the record at a later time. Mr. Colatree.
Mr. President, this is an agreement with Westlaw Research Data and related library materials. It's for the use of the Freeholder Board if they would like to use it, County Council, the Prosecutor's Office, and correctional facilities that they do research during for state, local government research. It's on an as-needed basis also, Mr. President.
Mr. Prodecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
None here.
What did we spend on this contract?
This is not to exceed $750,000. We did not hit that last year. I don't have the exact number, Mr. President.
It's 3 years.
A 3-year agreement, okay. Freeholders? Motion?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Palmaris.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebald.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're going to move to resolution number 49.
Mr. President, Ms. Gassion is here to explain this resolution.
Courtney Gassion, Essex County Council. Resolution 49 is a request by the administration to approve a lease agreement between the county and MC University Parking LLC, permitting the county to lease the space at 346 to 360 University Avenue in Newark, New Jersey. As Mr. Varghese mentioned earlier, we are in the process of purchasing 320 to 321 University Avenue. That closing is actually going to take place next week on March 13th. This surface parking lot is immediately adjacent to the two buildings that we are purchasing. So this surface lot will be utilized for parking for our Division of Family Assistance and Benefits when they are moved there next summer. And in the interim period, it will be used for overflow parking during the construction that's going to be taking place at the court complex over the next 2 years. The lease will run from the date that we close on the two properties that we are purchasing, March 13th, and it will run for a period of 5 years. We will have the option after year 3 to purchase the surface lot if the county so chooses. The cost of the lease is $1 per month, and the county will be responsible for operating costs, maintenance, and a proportional share of taxes.
Mr. Parlavecchio?
No question.
Mr. McInerney?
Yes. So this is a 5-year lease with an option to buy. The option to buy is the fair market value determined at the time of purchase, correct?
That's correct.
And the rent is $1 a month, and there's a possibility is there any possibility that the county won't buy this?
I would say it's more likely than not that we will purchase it. At that point, we will be in those buildings. We will have our full DFAB units there. We will need the additional parking to accommodate our employees. So I would say it's more likely than not we will be purchasing it. It's not guaranteed at this point, but I think it's more than likely that we will.
Is there any reason why they wouldn't come up with a fixed purchase option, a price that they both agree on at this point?
It was something that we had tried to negotiate. It was a difficult point in the lease, but they were insistent upon fair market value. This was the most that they were willing to come to the table as far as the appraised value at the point that we were ready to purchase.
So the way I read it, Courtney, is it says that each party gets its own
Appraisal.
and
Correct.
if there's a conflict between the two, if they can't come to an agreement, there's a third appraisal.
That's
that
correct.
Would break the tie, so to speak.
Yes.
As far as remediation of any environmental issues, the lease is basically saying that that's still the responsibility of the landlord?
That is correct.
Okay, so any costs associated, would we know beforehand? Are we going to do any sort of phase 1 type of reviews?
Phase 1 has already been done on the property. At the time that, if we do intend to purchase it in 3 years, additional environmental testing will be done at that point as well.
And prior to purchase, we would make that, the landlord aware of that?
Correct.
And that would be his cost?
That is correct.
If that cost is significant, that obviously is going to impact on, very much may impact on the fair market value of the property. I mean, it seems that it's very open. still this lease. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but the ones that I've seen, it's difficult to say what's going to happen if you don't have a fixed amount in there. And as you said, it was something on the table, but not something that you come to an agreement on.
That's correct.
So it's $1 a month until we buy it. As far as maintenance and things like that, that is also the responsibility of the county?
It is.
Okay. And then there's some also improvements it discusses in here with regard to improvements to the parking lot?
There's going to be striping that will take place. The landlord is actually going to do the resurfacing and striping, and then they're going to invoice the county for it, but we have the right to approve the quote that they get prior to the work getting done. That will happen within 90 days of the lease beginning.
Okay. And as far as there's an indemnification clause in here as well, what is the indemnification for? Is this something that the tenant agrees to indemnify the landlord, correct?
Correct. And just to back up for 1 second, Mr. Jackson reminded me, any cost associated with the resurfacing and striping the lot will be credited to the purchase price at the time if we choose to purchase at the end of year 3.
And this LLC that is the landlord, is that a subsidiary of?
It is a subsidiary of Matt Cali.
Okay. So is there any indemnification we have from them with regard to, I guess, that if the property does have environmental, and if there's an environmental problem, it's up to them to remediate it, correct? And it's their cost.
Through you, Mr. President, that's correct.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McInerney. Freeholders. Questions or comments? So, mover?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Seabold.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Seabold.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolutions 21 through 48. 47, which are all commendations. Do I have a mover and a second?
Move it. Second.
Moved by Freeholder Mercado, second by Freeholder Pomares. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Read them into the record at a later time.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Seabold.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Reports of board committees. Legislative reports. Written communication. Unfinished business. New business. Public comment.
Good evening again, Munira El-Bumani, citizen of Newark. I just want to use this opportunity to talk about, as I came before you the last freeholder meeting, talked about the wealth gap and the disparities that's going on in Essex County. Out of 22 municipalities, as I said last freeholder meeting, that the disparity rate is unacceptable, particularly for Newark, Orange, East Orange, and Irvington. Totally unacceptable. And I don't know the reason for it. Out of the 22 municipalities, these three municipalities are facing high unemployment and high poverty at an alarming rate. And I'm asking freeholders to use your legislative power to do anything you could to address the situation. The low percentage also of minority contractors. I know before Madam Chair Timberlake, when she went on to the assembly position, she had established an ordinance in regards to addressing the disparity rate amongst local contractors. I don't know at this point if that legislation is being implemented and enforced, and is there any oversight? Because I know at the last meeting you spoke about doing some research. Somebody spoke about researching. I think you spoke, Mr. Richardson, about Freeholder Richardson, about audit data on the contracts for local hiring, local contractors. At the last Freeholders meeting, I want to know if you came up with any kind of research on that at this particular time, because we need to definitely see it. We also need to talk about the joint venture component of that legislation, because we have a lot of local contractors here that probably
30
need
seconds.
to also get partnership to do joint ventures. Also, we have a school. We have the Donald Payne Tech School that is a beautiful state-of-the-art school with all these different trades and skill sets in there. Also, we had the Essex County, which I had the privilege of going through Essex County Vocational at 91 Market, who had the construction training program
Time's
there as
up.
well. We need to find out how we can partner with the trainees that's in those classes, to place them in unions, partners with the unions, and also to place them on entry-level jobs with some of these contractors that's doing business with the County of Essex. So that's my 2 cents. Hopefully I could get a response. I know I went over my time, but hopefully I could get a response to my comment.
Thank you.
Donna Jackson. I think it's a good thing that we're moving to the MBNA building. 18 Rector Street is a little horrible. It's a little big, and it's a lot mismanaged because there's a lot going on. Hopefully that could bring a more family atmosphere to our services that I always complain about, and I'm so sorry, but we just are not doing what we should be doing. The enforcement and the monitoring. And I think since we're moving over there, and I know we're doing some things at 50 South Clinton, we need to really look at the training programs that we're now offering, that we're paying millions and millions of dollars for, and people sometimes complete the training and don't even have the GED. So where are they going to work at? When you fill out an application, the first thing they ask you is, do you have a high school diploma? I think we also need to offer a high school diploma program versus the GED. A lot of people aren't passing the GED because it's in line with the Common Core. And if you look at the numbers nationally, we used to have 500,000 people acquiring their GED every year. That number now is less than 100,000 nationally. So I think we have to look at what we're doing and monitor what's going on. So I'm just going to ask you guys to continue to monitor, to make sure that things are working. Families are really hurting out here. It's a greater impact in Newark. We got the most people, but this is now systemically becoming a problem. People are losing their homes in East Orange because of the failure to pay for TRA. That's a very serious problem in Newark. And unfortunately, because of the political partnerships and the friends and family plan, when people call the state to complain, most of the time nothing is being done. But I think it's very unfair to homeowners to lose their homes because the County of Essex didn't want to make those rent payments. And I think it's even further slap in the face to the resident tenant who now has the charge of not paying their rent on their record. I spoke with the young lady from the juvenile, I can't think of her name in the back there. So we're going to work some things out in terms of the ankle bracelet service and all of those other kind of things. I am familiar with the SPIRA program, and there's some things we just need to expand. You know, we need to have an extension core program. I know we can't put that on paper anywhere legally, but some of our children just need to go through that little thing that we went through, called you was in trouble, you got your little pop, and then you got it together. No, we can't legally say that, so I'll say it so you guys don't get in trouble. but we need an extension cord program. That's all I'm going to say. But other than that, I just want to say, I've got to have a little laughter, so we now also, I'm the last
30
one of the
seconds.
night. Yes, I know, 30 seconds. We're going to laugh now, all the way to the last 25 seconds. But just have a good night, everybody. Hopefully we can reassess and reconstitute our county program now that we're moving over into the new building. Let's have a new attitude. Let's get our employees more enthused and stop being so punitive, because they are with a lot of people. Let's monitor the cases and see who they're closing out and how long they're being closed out. Have a wonderful evening, and hopefully I'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right. It's good to see you, Ms. Jackson. Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Okay, Madam Clerk, hearing and seeing none, we do freeholder comment session. Just two quick things. One, first, a reminder that there will be a subcommittee hearing or public meeting on the 14th of March, correct? 6 p.m. the Leroy Smith Building. Where, for those who are watching at home and still in the audience, where thank you, Madam Clerk. Where the DHS and OIG report that was published will be discussed. So that will be on the 14th of March at 6 p.m. In the Leroy Smith Building on the 14th floor in the Sheila Oliver Conference Room. The board members will be notified. Thank you. Want to thank the staff for the event tonight, for their work on putting together our annual salute to the Irish and our recognition of our Newark Newark West Orange and Nutley St. Patrick's Day Parade Grand Marshals, Deputy Grand Marshals, Parade Committees, and honorees. The Nutley St. Patrick's Day Parade was already held this past Saturday. The West Orange Parade will be this Sunday, and the Newark Parade, the granddaddy of them all, will be on Friday the 15th. I believe at
Ides of March.
Yeah, that's right. At 1 p.m. step off. Great family-oriented events happening over the next couple of weeks here in Essex County. Any additional comments? Freeholder Pomeroy.
I'll have to say this, I'm a student of history, but March 18th is the birthday of our only New Jersey-born president, President Grover Cleveland, who was born in Caldwell back in 1837. And I had the pleasure of actually starting my museum career there many moons ago, a lot longer. Seems like 1837 for me. But I would encourage, it is a beautiful little historic house that is open by the public. It's operated by the state of New Jersey through their Parks Department. And I believe that the Grover Cleveland Birthplace Memorial Association, which has been around for since 1907 or 1908, has been around, will have some festivities in honor of Grover Cleveland. And so after you recover from your St. Patrick's Day party, perhaps you can go down there and enjoy a good tour. They do an excellent tour over there. So my due diligence for the sake of history.
That's on Monday the 18th.
They have an event on Monday
the
18th, but his actual birthday is there. And the museum is open 5 days a week, and you can check that out to the state's website if you Google it.
You should have been notified already.
I got a notification for the specific
from
event, yes.
Madam Clerk, because they did send it to us, so.
I will make sure you get it.
I believe that it did come in, and we had requested that be emailed to all the freeholders. So. Additional questions or comments? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Meeting adjourned.